Time for a look at your West Tennessee forecast with meteorologist Brian Davis.
Welcome in, everyone, on this Monday, and a hot Monday it has been. Yeah, we're up to 93 degrees. We've got a lot of those low 90s out there. The humidity just keeps cranking up, and we're expecting we could be bumping up against 100 degrees by the end of the week. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this weather forecast. We've got heat advisories going in effect. They're in effect tonight until 8 o'clock, but they go back in effect tomorrow, and it's going to cover more area. And by the time we get to about Wednesday, all of West Tennessee will be in the heat advisory. And then we're probably going to wind up with some extreme heat warnings Thursday into Friday. So let's go ahead and take a look at this right now. So far today, we've topped out at 93 out at the Jackson Airport. High would normally be at 90 degrees. Low would be at 68. We started off a morning low of 73 degrees. Record set back in 1980. This day in history was 102. All right, we'll let them hang on to that. Now, that's a look at our local numbers for today. We are still continuing to watch the tropics as well. We got potential for formation out there over parts of the Atlantic, that 20% and 50%. So we're watching that closely. We are in the peak of tropical weather season. But let's go ahead and take a look at where we're going right now. Nothing in the immediate area tropics-wise. What we do have is a lot of traffic right now in the Memphis area. Temperature of 97 degrees out there. 93 in Savannah. Feels like 108 out there. That's why we've got these heat advisories all over the place. 105 is what it feels like in UT Martin. 93 degrees right now, and 91 in Parsons, but even there it feels like 103, with that dew point being up there at 75 degrees. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at area temperatures around West Tennessee. So we've got 93 right now at Union City. We've got 93 at Ripley, 91 in Alamo. We've got 91 in Huntington and Lexington. A little cooler just to the east. You can tell that looking at the counties. The heat has not gotten as far to the east, or at least the extreme heat. So that's why our eastern counties are not in a heat advisory for today, but you're going to be in that tomorrow. All right, but west, that's where the major heat is already cranking up. Ripley at 93, Dyersburg at 93, as well as Ridgely and Memphis right now coming in at 95 degrees. Southwest winds, its high is about 15 miles per hour. And again, here's that heat advisory for tomorrow. You've been seeing the heat advisory down in the lower left of the screen. That's for the rest of this evening, but this is the heat advisory that'll kick in for tomorrow. 11 a.m. it kicks in and goes till 8 p.m. tomorrow night, and that's almost all of West Tennessee. I believe we may see those other two counties, McNairy and Hardin, fill in. So far they haven't, but I look for that to happen by at least by Wednesday. All of West Tennessee will wind up underneath this. All right, so going to be a hot week, as we've been telling you. Let's take a look at the surface map. High pressure continues to build right over us. All the severe weather is up to the north, because that's where the big transition between the much hotter air that we're in right now and the much cooler continental Canada air up there in the North Great Lakes. So that's where all the action's really going to be. We'll get a stray storm here and there here, but all the major organized precipitation and groups of very concentrated storms, that'll be well off to the north for the rest of this evening and tomorrow for that matter. It does get a little closer as we start to see that trough dipping a little bit further south over the Ohio Valley into parts of the East Coast here. Now, looking at close-up view, nothing here this evening. Futurecast does show, as we've been having, a few stray showers or thunderstorms, mainly south of I-40 near the Tennessee River, but no real, major activity. It's going to be some heavy localized downpours, which, we've already been getting this afternoon. You'll see that on radar. But it's going to be, most of us are not going to be getting in on the rain. So let's take a look at radar. I kind of skipped over it there. So that's what we're talking about. You can see a little storm there just east of Savannah and just north of Walnut Grove near the Barriertown area, just north of there. And then we got another storm right there in Lauderdale County, just south of the Walnut Grove area. So you guys are kind of sandwiched in between two very isolated, localized storms. Most of us are just totally rain free and we're sitting here in the heat. But again, yeah, we'll be looking for a couple of more of those storms tonight in through tomorrow. But it's going to continue to be this way where most of us will not get any relief in the heat. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at our next map here, taking us through the rest of this evening. We could get as high as 94 over the next hour or so, but then we'll drop back off into the mid 70s for tonight. Still going to be very warm, very humid as we get into the morning hours. You can see only dropping to about 74 by 6 a.m. in the morning. So still very humid and balmy as you step out the door. At the bus stop there, 74, mostly sunny, and it's already going to have that humid feeling to it. You'll probably find yourself cutting on perhaps the air conditioner if you get hot easier, even in the morning, unfortunately. But then up to 95 for tomorrow. This is where it really starts to get dangerous. Those mid 90s, dew points in the mid 70s will be like between 105 and 110 on the heat index. So definitely take those breaks. The model trend of highs over the next 7 days, look at that. We're even seeing a 99 and a couple of 99s there towards the end of the week. 100 is being hinted at in the model blend of highs. And remember, this takes the lowest forecasted highs and the highest and kind of blends them together. And so far, over the last couple of weeks, we've been able to lean towards the lower of those. And that, because the models can be a little bit biased there. But either way, this is the best I could come up with on trying to be conservative. So it's going to be hot. And usually my numbers are better than the model blend. That's because I'm a meteorologist and the models just ain't always that smart. But look at this. We go up in the mid 90s tomorrow and Wednesday, upper 90s on Thursday. There is still that little chance of a little bit more organized areas of showers and storms Thursday. It's not going to help us very much. In fact, a lot of those will come after the hottest part of the day. So that'll give plenty of time to just warm right back up again on Friday. But look at that, 97 on Friday, 98 on Saturday. And we could be looking at 99. And as you saw on the model blend of highs, up to around 100. That could be a record-setting day indeed for Sunday of the weekend. That's the best I got, guys. Definitely take those breaks. Remember the pets. You've probably heard mine in the studio barking because mom left and he doesn't like when mom's gone. So he barks and whines the whole time till she gets home. But remember the pets. Mine's pretty easy to remember because he barks a lot, especially when mom's gone. Skylar the Pom does. And the kids, don't forget. The little toddlers in the back seat, we hear about it every year. Let's try to prevent that here in this viewing area. I don't want to hear of anybody having that problem. And don't forget about yourselves. Yes, adults, take those breaks because you know what? In these types of weather patterns, this is where the emergency rooms start to fill up. And unfortunately, by the time you wind up with a heat illness, it's a pretty high percentage. It escapes me at the moment, but there's a pretty high percentage of people that once they get into a certain level of heat illness, they don't come out of it. And that's the hundreds of deaths, sometimes in the thousands that we hear about in heat waves. So remember, if you're already feeling thirsty while you're outside, you're probably too late. You need to get in immediately and start drinking those clear liquids, but you've already got a little bit of heat illness or you're dehydrated. So don't wait till you're thirsty. Take breaks every 15 minutes. And even if you're not thirsty, get you a glass of water, all that kind of stuff. And wear light colored clothing. All right. And a lot of this stuff, but we've got time on my channel. We can kind of keep going, but I'm not going to bore you too long. But do those things, and definitely even the outside pets, because even in the shade, when it starts to get as hot as it's going to get tomorrow, and especially towards the end of the week, even the shade doesn't do much good because you got the high dew points and you got the high temperatures, so shade doesn't really help that much at that point. Make sure the water bowl's full, all that kind of stuff. I've noticed Skylar the Palm, he goes outside, he's been coming back in, he's drinking about twice as much water as normal. So, you got to remember that. Like, oh, I just put the water down yesterday. You got to check it twice a day because they drink a lot more when it's hot out there. And, especially the little dogs, they like to play. The dogs and the cats, they like to get out there, and they don't always know how hot they're getting, especially the inside pets there. But anyway, take care, guys. That's a look at your evening weather update. It's going to be hot. No way around it. Hopefully we'll get through this all right. We'll be in for all the updates. But thanks as always for watching West Tennessee Weather Channel. We'll see you back next time.
We are West Tennessee Weather Channel.